Hello everyone, it's Karen, welcome to another video. Now today we're going to be doing something a little bit different here. Today we're going to be doing a discussion video, something that I've never done before. Well, I haven't done for a while, I'd say. But I just want to kind of jump on the bandwagon with this kind of topic. So today, I'm going to be talking about and giving you my thoughts of the new Beatles song that's just come out, on Thursday, called Now and Then. I want to talk about the history behind the song, what I think of it and whatever, and just kind of go over it in just kind of detail as best I can, really. So, early this year it was announced that there was going to be Paul McCartney said on Radio 4, I think, while announcing a project, he'd done a book of photos he'd taken back in the 60s during the Beatles days, and saying that there was going to be a final Beatles song at the end of the year. And this got fans thinking it was going to be the Now and Then song, and of course it was. The story behind the song was that it had been recorded by John Lennon on a cassette tape recorder at his home in the Dakota back in sort of 1977 or 1978. Remember that time during his kind of years as a house husband period when he was raising his son Sean, sort of spending time with his wife Yoko Ono, and just kind of taking a step back from things. Even though he had taken a step back from things, he didn't really stop writing any songs, because he recorded a number of demos at his home in the Dakota apartment building, such as Free as a Bird and Real Love. Other examples I can think of. Grow Old With Me is another example that was later released on the Milk and Honey album in 1984. And then for many years the songs weren't known aside from bootlegs. And then in 1994, after John had been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Beatles, I think, were inducted as solo members, Paul McCartney was speaking to Yoko Ono, and I'm not too sure how it came about, but Paul then discovered that Yoko had some tapes from John that John had never issued or never finished. So Yoko then gave the remaining Beatles a total of 4 songs: Free as a Bird, Real Love, Now and Then, and Grow Old With Me. That's 4. And so they listened to the songs, and the songs were in very low quality. They had been recorded on a cassette tape recorder with John and a piano. And they were in mono. So therefore it was kind of difficult to separate them. But then George had known the producer Jeff Lynne, because Jeff had produced George's solo album Cloud 9, and Jeff had also worked with George on the Traveling Wilburys alongside Roy Orbison, Tom Petty and Bob Dylan. So George and Jeff were great friends. Jeff, I think, had also produced Ringo's album Time Takes Time, and Jeff would later go on to work with Paul on the Flamin' Pie album from 1997. So the tapes were then given to Jeff Lynne. Jeff found it was virtually, though technically, impossible to separate John and the piano, because the song had been recorded in mono. It was a difficult thing to do, but they managed to lay him in and keep the integrity of the performance. And so, with them cleaning up Free as a Bird, they were able to write this, because Free as a Bird hadn't been complete, so they kind of wrote lyrics to it, as well as adding music parts to it. So yeah, Free as a Bird was then released in 1995 and was a success and did well. And then a year after the Free as a Bird sessions in 94, they went back and did Real Love. And Real Love proved to be a challenge, because the song had a lot of hiss and there was a terrible amount of hum in it, and they tried to restore it, and Jeff Lynne, they managed to restore it successfully, but they still couldn't separate John from the piano, so they had to keep him in as well. So and then Real Love was then released in 1996, and then they tried to do Now and Then around about the same time, but it was impossible to restore the track. They tried all they could, but it was impossible to restore it, and George Harrison got a bit kind of restless and described the track as, pardon my language, effing rubbish, which I'm sure when he said it was rubbish, he meant the quality of the song. He didn't actually mean the song itself, it's just a recording quality. So it was then shelved for a number of years, and Paul McCartney said in the documentary, Mr. Blue Sky, Jeff Lynne documentary, he said, I'm going to get Jeff in one day to finish it off. And that was back in like 2012, that documentary, so that didn't happen. And then it wouldn't be until 2021, following like the Get Back project, which Peter Jackson was involved in and did. They'd used some software for that. It was then suggested they would try and do something with Now and Then with this new kind of software. So they took John's original cassette demo and they cleaned it up and they isolated his voice, and they still had the original attempted recording from 1995, as over the years various bootlegs had surfaced of like what a Beatles version would have probably sounded like back in 95, and they still had elements from 1995. So they took George's guitar part, because by this point George Harrison had passed away. He'd passed away in 2001. So they took his guitar part as well as John's vocal, and then Paul and Ringo added new parts to it. So Ringo added his drums and Paul added bass, and Paul and Ringo added backing vocals as well. And then they got Giles Martin, who was the son of their producer friend George Martin, to add a string arrangement, and this was done at the Capitol Studios in Los Angeles. Work was done in Paul's home studio in Hog Hill Mill and Ringo's studio somewhere in Los Angeles. So they did that, and the track was mixed, and the track was put together, and there you had the final Beatles track. Throughout the year, there was sort of rumours and hints that there was going to be this track coming after Paul had announced it on the radio, and there was even reports and rumours that it had been this thing called artificial intelligence, which Ringo, I think, corrected, saying it wasn't artificial intelligence, or parts of it. Well, anyway, so anyway, then in October, a couple of weeks ago, there was like this hint, a countdown, a cassette tape on the Beatles website. When you went onto the Beatles website, you had a cassette tape, and it was kind of like countdown to an announcement, and this made fans think that it was going to be coming sometime. And then the next day, it was announced that Now and Then was going to be released on Thursday the 2nd of November, which it was, and fans were quite excited by this. And myself, I was very excited about this, because I have been a Beatles fan since 2013, so that's a good 10 years now, and since I was 12. And so, given that I was born in 2001, I never got to experience the excitement of Free as a Bird and Real Love back in the day. So, but I can imagine how it would have been like for me if I was around back in the day. But so anyway, it was going to be announced on the 2nd of November at 2 p.m. and then before that, there was to be a short film about the making of Now and Then, which I watched and thought was a great watch, and I got to hear bits of the track, and that even got my anticipation up, thinking, oh, this is going to be really great. And so I was walking back for Saltcoats, and when the track was announced, I listened to it on YouTube. I thought it was great. It was brilliant. I really liked it. I really liked the music. I loved hearing John's voice so clear in kind of like the mix. It was kind of like, you know, he was still there. He was like, all four Beatles were together again, you know. So I think it's a great track. It was also announced around about the same time that it was going to be on that the Red and Blue albums from 1973, the 62 to 66 and 67 to 70 albums were going to be remastered, remixed, and sort of and given bonus tracks. And Now and Then was going to appear on the Blue album. Now, I've now ordered the CD single from the Beatles store, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed for the vinyl. I'll look out for it on vinyl, but I know it's a bit pricey at the moment on like Amazon, but the Beatles store have it quite high, so I'm going to wait till the price is down a bit for me to get the vinyl, but I'll definitely get the vinyl of it. But Now and Then is a great, great song. It's kind of like, it's a great one to sort of go out with for the Beatles, because, you know, as Sean Lennon, who's John's son, said, this is kind of like the last record that you're going to get John, Paul, George and Ringo all together on. So yeah, it's kind of like a bittersweet song, but it's great. I really like it. And the One Show did a big thing where they got Giles Martin and John Bishop, who's a very famous comedian from I think Liverpool, and they were talking about the track, and it got played on Radio 2 and 6 Music when it was announced. I listened to it on YouTube, and I have a radio show on a Monday night, so tomorrow night, because today's Sunday when I'm recording this video, I'll be playing it on my show on my local radio station. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing it on my show. I know I've heard the track before a few times, but I'm quite excited to play it on my show tomorrow. So yeah, very excited about the track. It's kind of you know, Christmas has come early for us Beatles fans, and so yeah, it's great. Good to see. So what else is there to say? And yeah, and who knows? We may even get some new Beatles fans with this track, because in the 1990s when like the anthologies came out, people really, it was like this interest in the Beatles had sort of happened, because through the years people had kind of forgotten, I wouldn't say like forgotten the Beatles, they were just, maybe people weren't kind of talking about them as often as, you know, but then again, no one can forget the Beatles the minute you hear them. But there was probably a phase where there wasn't really much sort of happening with the Beatles, and when the Free as a Bird and Real Love came out, you know, they kind of got new fans in, and I'm kind of hoping with this Now and Then song, they'll probably get new fans come in, and they'll discover this back catalogue from like the 60s on, which are all in this sort of box set from 2009. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, as I say. Yeah, it's great to see this, and that's kind of all I have to say. But if you do want to kind of get into more details on the track, you can check out Parallelogram Auction's video on this, which you can find on YouTube, and that's a great watch. He does kind of give more information into it than I do. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like the track, if you think it's great, leave a comment below. Like, comment, subscribe if you like this video, and if you want to see more content from me. And I'll see you again for the next video.